Do you like rolling dice? Do you like rolling dice over and over again and just hoping that you get the results you need in order to actually make it through the next room of the dungeon? If you do, this is One Deck Dungeon. It is a solo game, and I do not like it. I think it's entirely too luck-based. I don't mind a bit of luck in certain games. I'm playing a game called Warfighter, for example, where luck can be put off by making sure that you've got enough equipment that you need for the mission. And there are plenty of other games where there is plenty of the ability to just push luck into the background. But sometimes you just can't make it work. And in One Deck Dungeon, that is the best example that I've got, because the absolute majority of your wins and losses in this game are going to be based around luck. There is some kind of luck manipulation going on in the background. You can get skills, which let you manipulate certain dice. You can get items, which let you add more dice to your overall pool. And you can get XP, which lets you carry around more of those skills and more of those items. But you have to choose between one of the three whenever it comes to a card that you've succeeded against. And sometimes you just don't get the right combination of things that you need. So, for example, you've got 4 different doors you can knock down on the dungeon here, and you do have the choice of flipping them, deciding that you don't want to do them, and then moving on to the next one in exchange for a time penalty. But sometimes you just end up in some really bad situations. Like, for example, you got 3 here that I just don't think I can defeat. Like, this is my 3rd game of playing it solo, right? And I ended up trying to beat the Shadow Stalker, but I lost because I needed to roll 2 4s and a 3, blues and pinks, for example. And I do have the ability to increase one of them by 2, just in case I don't land on it. But out of curiosity, I rolled and I failed. And I ended up having to, like, give up on the campaign then and there, right? But then I tried rolling a bunch more times. And my chances of surviving that fight was something in the realm of 40%. And then I went and checked out the other cards I had face down, and I didn't have much better chances on them either, because, say, for this one, you need to fill in these 2 shields first, and then that shield over there. So you would need to get those 3 rolls perfect before you could do anything else. And then you needed 2 6s, a 5, a 3, and a 4 in their specific colors, or on the black dice, because you couldn't use the black dice for anything. For the Rockworm here, you need a ton of yellow dice, just in general, because if you don't have a ton of yellow dice, you can't make that work, and it is quite painful. You do have the ability, at least in this character, to use the Heroic Feat, which would give you an extra black dice at the cost of time. But the thing about this is that you're not allowed to use those Heroic Feats after you've made the roll. So you don't know if your luck is going to turn out incredibly badly or if it's going to end up being in the wrong spot. Like, you might think that, say, for example, let's say for the Shadow Stalker, I thought, okay, I'm going to put my 6 on the yellow, right? Because it looks like one of the more painful ones. But then you roll, and all your yellows turn out to be 6s, but you don't have the 2 blues that you need to get past all the shields. So you just fail. And even then you wouldn't be allowed to do that anyway, because persistence. Black dice can't be placed on squares with shields. So you just end up in between a rock and a hard place. And then, like, say I was to back out and go for another one, where I need 15 worth of blue dice, plus an extra blue dice, plus 3 good rolls on yellow and pink dice. And I have to discard a black and a yellow before the fight even starts. Or I could go for the Rockworm, which I need the ton of yellow dice for, which I don't think I can just make that roll. I don't think it's possible, because I don't have the yellow dice to back me up on this one. Then I flip over the Poison Cloud, and it's like, oh, okay, this one looks relatively simple. But then it goes away, and I have to flip up another one. And I might end up getting a good run of environments, or I might end up getting another 4-thing monster like this one, and I'm just stuck. I don't have a choice. I can't move on. I know I've got some potions over there that I can use to heal it up and then take the hits, but then I'll just end up being back in the same situation again, where I have to go up against another 4-star monster, and it's just infuriating when it all comes down to just some luck of the roll like that. And again, it's not really helped out by the fact that you are limited to the amount of items and skills you can carry at the beginning of the game. So you might come across like 2 really good items in a row, but you can only take one of them. Or you might take a skill or 2, and then you come across a really good skill, and you can't take that either. And I just find it to be the most infuriating thing in the world, because it just seems impossible to plan any realistic strategy around. You just have to deal with what the deck gives you and hope that you make it through. And it doesn't help that the game is quite repetitive, because you need to do the same set of rolls over and over and over again. You need to go through the entire deck, which is like a lot of these cards, 3 times through. It does get slightly shorter as you go, because cards that you take for experience and cards that count as your items will stay out of the game. So the second and third floors are always a little bit shorter, but I can see this getting really repetitive really fast, because I was already getting kind of bored of it. And you have 5 dungeons to go through, each with their own sets of challenges that you need to do here, and some of these are just ridiculous. Like 10 yellow in order to not take a heart damage on every single fight. And you need to spend time if you place more than 3 dice in a large challenge box, which is just silly. I know that's a 3 difficulty dungeon, but that just seems more luck-based than the rest of them. It just seems like, what sort of luck do you have? If you don't have luck that's anywhere near good, just stay out of everything except this one, the Mudlands, which is like the rank 1 dungeon. And the worst thing is, and well, not the worst thing, but I'll just go on to the other minor things I've got to say about this first. They do tell you to put cards like underneath your player card here and over the top of it here in order to like check your dungeon level and what have you, but it just becomes a mess. I know I've got this on carpet, but I have tried to play this game on a proper table, and it just makes trying to manage the cards under here even worse if you're trying to slide a new item under or a new skill under, or as they require you to get with XP, just kind of stick it under the right here, because you always end up running into troubles like that, and it just ends up being a little bit more annoying than not. That's what the book says. I know you don't have to do it, but that's what the book says, and it just makes it more annoying than it needs to be. And then they expect you to play a bloody campaign where you try and fight all 5 bosses. You do get some benefits, but if you don't have any good luck, these won't help you out very much. So, yeah, it's just, it's too luck-based. It's too based on a roll of the dice. It feels like there's so little I can do to actively save myself from a bad situation when it comes around to it. And I just can't stomach it, if I'm being honest with you. And it's a shame, because the art is nice, the cards are nice, it's nice and small, fits in a relatively tiny box. Like, here's the box and here's my hand. It's about as big as my hand, and I've got big hands. And you can play it with 2 players, but then it's just 2 players who have to make some really good rolls from time to time, and I can't stand that either. So what even do you do? Hell, if you merge 2 boxes together, you can play with up to 4 people, but they make the rules even harsher. Like how you don't get rid of poison. Poison just continually builds up. At least in single player, if you successfully save yourself from poison, you get to take the token off. In 2 to 4 player, you get nothing. It's like, screw you, you just get to make that check over and over and over again. And, I can't even imagine what it's like to play this with 4 people, but I can't imagine it's pleasant. So yeah, 1 deck dungeon. At least this is the Forest of Shadows version, but I'm pretty sure all the other versions are the same. It's just rolling dice over and over again and hoping that you get lucky. And I can't stand it. I've played a game called Formula D, and I thought that game was overly luck-based too, and I didn't have any fun playing that. So, yeah, pure push your luck without enough options to fix any bad rolls or any bad luck you might have, and I don't like it as a result. I don't feel like I get to do any strategizing whatsoever. I'm on the leash of the dice. This has been Blue Maxima. I'll see you all next time.